Imagine a world you know, a world of effortless connection and precise direction. Now, imagine it all vanishing in an instant. This is not science fiction. This is a story of what could happen if our silent guide, the global positioning system, suddenly went dark for 7 days. It begins with a flicker, a moment of digital silence. On screens across the globe, the familiar blue dot freezes, then disappears. You're driving to a new part of town. You glance at your phone. No signal. You reboot it. Still nothing. You think it's just your device, a minor glitch. But you're not alone. Around you, drivers slow down, confusion etched on their faces. On city sidewalks, pedestrians stop, staring blankly at their phones, swiping and tapping in a futile attempt to reconnect. In this first hour, there's no panic, only a growing and settling quiet, an eerie sense of shared bewilderment. The digital heartbeat of our modern world has flatlined, and we are only just beginning to realize we are lost. As the sun rises on the first full day without GPS, the ripple of confusion becomes a tidal wave of chaos. Our global supply chain, a marvel of modern logistics, grinds to a halt. Thousands of container ships, behemoths carrying everything from food to electronics, are now adrift in the vast emptiness of the ocean. Without precise coordinates, they are blind, their captains relying on ancient navigation methods not used for decades. On land, the situation is just as dire. A long line of trucks, the lifeblood of our economy, stretches for miles on highways. Drivers, stranded without routes, can only wait. Supermarket shelves begin to thin, gas stations run dry. At airports, the sky is eerily silent. Planes are grounded. The few that were airborne when the system failed circle endlessly, their fuel supplies dwindling as they desperately seek a safe place to land. The intricate dance of global transport has collapsed. Day 1 is a symphony of failure. By day 3, the breakdown of our transportation network has become a full-blown crisis for emergency services. A frantic call comes in a heart attack, a house fire, a major accident, but the first responders are fighting a war on two fronts. One against time, the other against geography. Ambulances, police cars, and fire trucks, once guided by infallible digital maps, are now reliant on outdated paper charts and the fading memory of street names. Wrong turns become fatal delays. In the sprawling, labyrinthine suburbs, every second lost is a life hanging in the balance. Major cities are paralyzed by gridlock. Without traffic management systems, which rely on GPS timing, intersections become choke points of chaos and collision. Hospitals, overwhelmed with casualties from the rising number of accidents, struggle to coordinate. The systems designed to save us are failing, and the thin line between order and anarchy is beginning to fray. As we reach day 5, the crisis deepens, spreading beyond the physical world and into the digital ether. What many don't realize is that GPS is not just about location, it's about time. The hyper-accurate atomic clocks on board GPS satellites provide the master pulse for much of our global infrastructure. Without that pulse, the world's financial markets begin to flicker. Automated trading systems, dependent on microsecond timing, crash. Communication networks become unstable. Cell phone towers, internet servers, and power grids, all synchronized by GPS time, begin to desynchronize. The digital world we inhabit, the very fabric of our interconnected society, starts to unravel. In global logistics centers, giant screens that once tracked thousands of shipments across the planet are now dark. The flow of information has ceased. The world is not only lost, it is falling silent. We are disconnected, isolated, and flying blind into an uncertain future. 7 days, 1 week. It feels like an eternity. By now, the world is a shadow of its former self. From above, cities are a static tableau of stalled traffic. On the ground, the streets are a mix of desperation and resilience. People, unable to navigate their own cities, form search parties, relying on landmarks and the kindness of strangers. Panic grips ports and airports, where millions are stranded, cut off from their homes and loved ones. The global economy is in free fall. Supply chains are broken. The veneer of civilization has worn thin, revealing how deeply dependent we are on an invisible network of signals from space. We have built a world on a foundation of technology we took for granted. Now, that foundation has crumbled. We are a species that has forgotten how to navigate, a generation that has outsourced its own sense of direction. We are adrift. And then, as suddenly as it began, it's over. A signal returns. A single satellite, then another, then a cascade of digital handshakes across the heavens. On a phone screen, a blue dot reappears, blinking back to life. On a ship's bridge, coordinates flash onto a dusty monitor. On an ambulance dashboard, a route materializes. The world slowly, tentatively, begins to breathe again. A driver, lost for days, finally sees the path home. A family, separated by the chaos, is reunited. The crisis has passed, but the silence and the fear remain. The world has been given a stark and terrifying reminder of its own fragility. We look up at the sky, no longer with indifference, but with a newfound sense of vulnerability and awe. Could you survive 7 days without GPS? The question is no longer hypothetical. It's a challenge to our very way of life. Thanks for watching. Follow for more.